Baruch Hashem. So, greetings and welcome, everyone. So, today, right now, what I'm actually working on is something that is something that should have been done this way a long time ago, yet all in due season in terms of maturity, divine education, and mastery and wisdom being given, and a proficiency being gained in the process of self-mastery, all at the right time. What I'm saying is that the sooner you start practicing this, the more prosperous you will be. And I'm talking about massive prosperity, the ability to master your life and destiny and to live purely miraculous life. Okay. And what it is that you can see a count with due regard to privacy, though there's time slots here. Up above, I have the 2 high tides of the day, the 2 low tides, and I'm monitoring the long lunar unit of 14 days, right? And I'm paying attention to the daily periods of the cycles of life. And I also have quarterly, hourly time segments here. It's very good. The thing is that there's a word in Hebrew called the mazal, the mazel. And actually, it's like the destiny of a thing. Now, we know that because life is cyclical, and in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the Creator geometrized creation is ordered according to God's wisdom, right, and His will, perfect wisdom. So everything in life has a life cycle, and this pertains to everything, every human acquaintance, interaction, legitimate relationship, friendship, all these things. An idea, everything whatsoever leading to like an idea, a thought, an action, a deed, a real life result, right? Everything has a life cycle. Now, if one would actually, see, it starts to make sense when you operate within a certain geographic area for a longer period of time. It starts to make sense that you document the mazal, or the destinies, or better said, the times within the cycles of life when certain things were creatively initiated and created. So you're documenting the life cycles, the points where the life cycles of the acquaintances began. So when you meet somebody important, you meet them at the right time. And when you meet them for the first time, the destiny of that thing, the destiny of the quality of that human relationship is already predestined to be a certain way based on when it was created. And you have a choice to basically coordinate your earth, human, and life activity so that it results in very good, right? So it starts to make sense to do this when you operate within a certain geographical area of the world for a longer period of time, because you may interact with people again over the years. And yeah, there's tons of people, and God's providence goes eternally, and there's always a clean slate in life, yet it makes sense to pay attention and to document the details of your operational environment. And the details of this, a large part of what makes a positive quality of life is the quality and the nature of the human interactions, relationships, and legitimate partnerships and whatever goes on that we have in terms of communication and potentially good cooperation with other humans. So if we would go and document the life cycles of the meetings, the initial acquaintances, when we met a person for the first time, it's like, what I'm talking about here is very detailed work, yet if you do this, you have such a clear picture of how and why everything is how it is and how to make it a certain way, and you can really have high degrees of accuracy in terms of mastering and making the best of it all. So one should actually regularly write down the times when one met important people or people that it is propitious to interact with in the life cycles that you're in right now. For example, in the 52-day annual life cycle period that you're currently in, where there's 7 of these 52 make a 365-day solar year that starts on your birthday, right? If you would document when you met, so first of all, coordinate meeting people in life at the right times so that the life cycle of this acquaintance begins at a time when it's provided with systematically available providence so that the destiny of it is good. Because the beginning of a thing, the time and the cycles of life when it begins, like when you meet a person for the first time, it determines the destiny, generally because it's predestined and predetermined and shaped and formed a certain way. The life cycle of that thing is formed and predestined a certain way based on where and when you make it begin. So coordinate all your activity a little wisely, and you have really good overall activity, right? So one should actually document the life cycles of, like, when you meet somebody important, and it's somebody who is important to you, and it's good to interact with in the life cycle period you're in right now, say the next, this annual life cycle period, right? For the next 52 days, right? And then pay attention to when you met them, write it down, because that way you really can maximize your positive effort, and then the return and the good results can be maximized if you pay attention to this, because knowing what the life cycle of a particular thing is and where it began gives us information about the destiny and the overall quality of it. Based on the time when a thing begins, it's predestined to be a certain way, while on the way can still be made to be this way or that way. What I'm saying is that if you pay attention to the mazal or the destiny of these things, like write down when you met important people, right, that are important to interact with, potentially cooperate with too. What happens is you have an overview of and a knowledge of the quality of that interaction and how it's basically going to be for, the remainder of your life. So now, think about this. If I have to go to a baker to buy bread, right? I met this baker at the perfect time. He met me at the perfect time, initially, right? We have an excellent working relationship and a friendship. Every time I go there, I get the freshest, healthiest bread. And vice versa, because we met at the right times, I give him tips, right? And like, he's super happy, I'm super happy. Why would that be the case? Because of meeting the person at the right time initially, so that life cycle of the acquaintance, right, between yourself and this other human, right, this other human and this person, it began at a time, it was created at a time, and it was like outfitted with divine providence that leads to it having a certain quality overall, right? Instead of like, where you meet somebody, no matter who it is, whatever position in life, and it's like, in retrospect, 30 years later, you think about it and you realize, I really wish I would have never met that person. Now, no hard feelings doesn't even have to do with the person. It has to do with the time. It's almost like, like a person goes fishing at the right time and catches really good fish. A person goes fishing at the wrong time and doesn't catch anything and is hungry. It's because of the times. It's not even because of the people so much. Very, very true. It's almost like you went sailing on a day when there was no wind. It wasn't really a very fun day. It was a meditative day. Yet you went sailing on a day when there was a lot of wind. You really went for an awesome sail, right? So it's just about that. So yeah, I have to say, look, if you were to, say, meet a person in the 5th annual life cycle period during a positive short lunar unit on a Tuesday at 7 a.m., during a positive long lunar unit, right, of 3.5 days, wow, I should write that down, because the beginning of that meeting, that person, right, happened within these life cycles that makes this thing, the life cycle of this for the next remainder of your life even, right? That's a good acquaintance. It has a good positive predestination and will be positive generally, right? The exact same opposite is also true and possible. So technically, it's almost like grid work. You're looking at points that there's points along this systematic geometry and this perfect platform of creation. There's certain coordinates that if you move on them creatively or active, perform a Earth human life activity, including interactions with other humans and initial interactions too, the quality of that is maximized and it's a beautiful everything. It works very good. Okay, I have to get to work now and keep finishing this. I got to get out of here, go. Because what's happening, the life cycle period, the daily period right now is good for this science, like researching and scientific publishing and tutorials. And I have to get out into nature too.